welcome to my channel. My name is Joanna. If this is your first time being here, thank you. I hope you stay. I hope you like what you hear. If you do, please click like, maybe even subscribe. I'm just turning down the music. And comment down below on how this information applies to you. But my intention is quite simple, is to help you navigate through the process of ascension. What does this mean? Well, in simplified terms, the process of ascension is us becoming aware of the truth of who we truly are, beyond our physical existence, beyond our physical bodies, beyond our ego, which is absolutely wonderful. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the ego. But it is becoming aware that there is more to us than what we identify as. And most of us identify with our bodies, we identify with our fears, we identify with our feelings, we identify with our looks. And all those things are beautiful experiences. They're all part of our human life, but in many ways they are limited. And there is a way to live a human existence in a physical form with less limitations. And what that simply means is living a life that is full of our potential, or that is lived to the fullest of our potential. So if this is something that interests you, if you are wanting to experience more of yourself, if you're wanting to experience more life, if you're wanting to embody more of your potential, then you've stopped at the right place. Thank you so much for being here, and I do hope you stay. For those of you who are returning, thank you so much for coming back. If you've watched me for a while, you know that every so often I change in the way I show up and I give information. Last week I did my video in a slightly different way, and this week looks like it's going to be different again. So rather than picking up piles, I am going to share with you some of the things that I believe many of us are experiencing. In fact, I am experiencing them, and many of those that I'm surrounded by are experiencing them too. So chances are you are highly likely to are experiencing those things as well. So I will go over some of the themes or challenges you might be facing right about now. And before I started to record this video, I had my own meditation, which I want to briefly share with you, because I believe that many of you will identify with what I'm about to say. But I'm just being reminded, thank you, that for those of you who are new to this channel, or for those of you who have not taken advantage of the free transformational tools that I have designed to help you transform your life for the better, there's a link right down below. All you have to do is just click on it. It doesn't cost you a penny. It costs you your time and your involvement, if you so choose. And there are some wonderful meditations in there. They're all channeled, and the aim with the meditations, or the intention with the meditations, with the work, is to help you transform yourself into someone who is embodying more of your true power. Let's use that analogy. So if you are not afraid of doing a little work, some of it can be quite intense. The payoff is quite extraordinary. So if you're not afraid of doing a bit of digging, inner exploration, then I feel you will find these tools very helpful. There is one or two meditation on inner child and healing your inner child. And most of our preconceived limiting ideas and beliefs are stored in our inner child. So I do hope you take advantage of it. Again, the link is down below. It doesn't cost you a penny. And please comment down below how these tools are helping you. I have been hearing from many of you, and you are finding them very helpful. So that's what I have on that. So for those of you who are regular listeners to my channel, you are probably already aware that I am going through my own inner transformation, and that has its own challenges. It has its uncomfortable moments. It has with it feelings of being uncomfortable, and I will share some of those feelings because I feel, and I can see this with people that are surrounding me, that many of us are going through these energies as well. So as I was saying, before I turned on the camera and I was experiencing a lot of resistance, I decided to just sit with the feeling and just allow myself to go really deep. So rather than trying to push the feeling of resistance away, which was very much centered around my heart chakra and bordering on my throat chakra, I decided to sit with it. And this is one of the most profound ways that I know of in order to let go of something that is limiting. It is not to get away from it. It is not to get rid of it. It is not to erase it. It is not to suppress it. It's to face it. And oftentimes facing something that feels uncomfortable is, well, uncomfortable. But, thank you. They're showing me a metaphor. You don't get to a diamond without digging. And the process of digging for a diamond is often very grueling, very long, uncomfortable, and oftentimes very dirty. But at the end of the day, for those who are driven and dedicated, this hard work proves to be very fruitful when they finally get to the diamond they have been digging for. And diamonds are, well, extraordinarily valuable. So this is the metaphor I wanted to use to kind of help give a visual to the process of doing some internal work. So I decided to sit with the very uncomfortable feeling of resistance, and I just sat with it. I just focused my attention on the feeling, and the more I focused my attention on that feeling, the stronger it grew. And I've done this many times before, so I know how this works. At first, when we focus on something, it becomes bigger, but then something magical happens. Then, by some, I don't know what it is, it begins to dissipate. And it's often happening because we begin to resist it less. And when we resist less of whatever it is that we are uncomfortable, the resistance to it lessens, and the feeling often, very often, gets much, much smaller or dissipates. So with me, and I believe many of you will identify with this, when I sat with this feeling and I went quite deep, it wasn't my agenda, I wasn't expecting to go deep, I just decided to sit with the feeling. I went down really deep, and what came up after a while, and I didn't even realize that I was out for about an hour, what came up was that this feeling of resistance was tied to a very deeply held wound of me fearing being different. And I suspect many of you have that fear as well. Most of our life, we are trying to fit ourselves to be something in order to be loved, in order to be accepted, in order to be supported, in order to be liked. All those things that are absolutely important for us to not just survive, but to thrive. And in that process, and a lot of that process of trying to fit in happens at a very young age, and it happens very much on an unconscious level. And it then becomes permanently etched in our psyche. So this came up for me, and I actually had a vision. There was a vision show of a man who was blindfolded on his knees with his hands tied behind his back, and he was being beaten. And when I saw this vision, I asked the question, why is this man going through this? Why is he being beaten? And what I received was, he's being punished for being different. And I said, So that may have been my past life, or just a metaphor to show me what my wound was. Now, I have been aware of this wound before, so it wasn't new to me, but it felt very much like I was reaching another level, a deeper level. And it felt so deep and so old. And there's a reason why I'm saying this to you, so I'm going to say that in a moment. But I want to express to you how it showed up in this life, to solidify, to bring this fear into life for me in this lifetime. When I was very young, and I am an only child because when I was being born, my mom almost died. I almost died. So there was a decision made that it would be best for my mom not to ever have any more children. Otherwise, her life would have been in grave state. And most of my life, as far as I remember, and of course I chose this, I chose my parents, I chose my circumstances in order to help me evolve. So there is no blame here on any level. It's simply a recognition of how my life has played out and how certain things have contributed to this particular fear, for example. And most of my life, while growing up, I heard the words, "Why can't you be like other kids?" And I remember very distinctly having moments of this inner conflict, not knowing how to be other than who I was, but the message was being consistent. Joanna, who you are is not good. It's not enough. It's whatever. You have to be like other kids. So at a very young age, I received that message that being me was not okay. And so began the process of me trying to fit myself in a certain box in order to avoid being different, because being different to me meant I wasn't going to be loved. I wasn't going to be accepted. I wasn't going to feel safe and secure, and that is what we need, not just to survive, but to thrive. And then I spent most of my adult life comparing myself to others. Now it makes perfect sense. Always trying to figure out, how can I be like this or that? Not realizing that every time I did that, I was harming myself. I was telling myself that being me was not okay. Now, because most of it was going on an unconscious level, I wasn't aware of it, just like many people are not aware of what they do or what they say to themselves. It just happens beyond their conscious awareness. So why am I saying this? I'm saying this because many of us are going through what I call the dark night of the soul. We are at a point of our life where we begin to question who we are, what we do, what our purpose is, why are we here in the first place? What is this all about? Why bother doing all the things we do if at the end of the day it's just an experience? So some of the things that you might be experiencing right now is the feelings of feeling stuck. And what's interesting is that when I knew I was going to talk about this, I pulled out some cards, and there are literally exactly the cards that are in alignment with the message that I'm sharing with you. So one of the first things you might be feeling is feeling like you're being stuck. Feeling like you are going through the mud. If you imagine going through mud, it's very uncomfortable. There is a lot of resistance. It's hard to make bold steps and movements. It's awkward. And it's quite simply uncomfortable. And I want to read to you what this particular message says. I normally don't read cards. I go through intuitively. But because it's so aligned with the message that I was going to give before this card even came up, I felt that it was important for me to read what this message really means, because the words couldn't be more true. You are being invited to stop and savor the wonder of your life. Becoming stuck is sometimes the only way to trick yourself into slowing down and looking around you. In fact, this is a sign that you need to shift your focus away from what you are doing and place your attention elsewhere. Struggling will only get you to an even muddier places. Now is not the time to move forward, but to observe. Clarity about your circumstances will come a little later. Stop and find the joy in what you have been overlooking. Soon you'll be out of the mud. But for now, be still and know that Spirit has planned for you. So if you are feeling stuck, if you are experiencing a lot of resistance, then chances are quite high that you are being asked to slow down. So I ask the question, in the process of slowing down, what are we achieving? Because everything happens for a reason. Oftentimes we do not know what the reason is. Oftentimes the logical mind cannot conceive of a logical reason why things would be happening, but there is always a reason when you look at the bigger picture of things. So I ask the question, as we are being asked to slow down, what are we being asked to look at? And what I got was brilliant. Again, aligned exactly with what I already knew I was going to say. One of the first cards is called Integrity. It came to me in reverse, and all that tells me is that there is a blockage. So one of the reasons why we are being asked to slow down is because we are being asked to look at what is out of sync or out of alignment with ourselves. Where are we out of sync or out of alignment with ourselves? Where in our life are we not acting out of our integrity? In other words, where in our life are we outside of our integrity for whatever reason? And we'll talk about those in a moment. In other words, where are you in alignment, not in alignment with yourself, number one, and number two, why? So in my example, one of the reasons why I was not in alignment with myself, my true self, is because at a very young age, I received the message that being me was not okay. And in fact, being me I was likely going to be met with non-acceptance, not being loved, which meant not feeling safe and secure. And for a child, that is equivalent to death. For a young child, not feeling safe and secure is equivalent to death. And every single one of us deals with this on some level. I believe this is very much part of our human journey. It is not meant to be a punishment, but rather a space to grow from, to gain a deeper, higher understanding. And understanding is what gives us clarity. Clarity is what allows us to see. And when we are able to see, so much more of life is available to us because we can see. There are probably many situations in your life where you went on about your regular day, and then one day you looked around your life and you went, oh my God, I am seeing things I haven't seen before. Not because they were not there, but because you were not looking at them, or you were looking at them through your old perception, let's say. So the key question for you right about now, if you are feeling stuck, if you feel like you are stuck in the mud, the question is to yourself, where am I out of alignment with myself? Now the question may come from you, how do I know if I am out of alignment? Quite simply, you will feel it. You'll feel something is not feeling right, something is not working. Something that may have worked up until this point very well, like in my case, all of a sudden starts to lose its meaning to you. It starts to lose its original value. And it becomes less and less of what you want, even though it has been what you wanted long time ago, or maybe not that even long time ago, or not that long ago. So practicing the question, where am I out of alignment with myself, is the key right now. Because the reality is, in order to be in the flow with your own energy and with the flow of energy of the universe, which makes life so much easier, we have to first identify where we are not in the flow with ourselves and ask the question, why? Where are you not in alignment with you, and why? And here's the thing, everything we do serves a purpose. Again, some of that purpose may not be seen or visible to the naked eye, to the ego self, but there's always a reason. There's always a reason. That's the fascinating thing. And the reasons are often unconscious or unconsciously driven. Perhaps one of the reasons why you are out of alignment with yourself is because you have been doing the same old, but you have been growing lately. And because you have been growing, because you have been evolving, because you have been expanding, naturally doing the same old to the expanded, more evolved you is going to feel different. So that may be one of the reasons why you might be feeling out of alignment with yourself right now. Another example could be that you are out of alignment because you have chosen to participate in life in a certain way in order to belong, in order to fit, in order to be liked, all those wonderful things that we need. And you put yourself in a box, or you made yourself be in a certain way in order to be liked, all those wonderful things, but those were not in alignment with the true you. And now the universe is saying, stop and investigate. Are you out of alignment with yourself? Because when you are out of alignment with yourself, you will experience a lot of resistance. So that's message number 1. Message number 2. The reason why we are being forced to slow down. And notice I'm saying forced in quotation marks because we have free will. We can choose to do things or not do things, look at things or not look at things. That's up to us. But at the end of the day, we are being led and guided by higher forces, by the universe. And the universe is so much wiser than we are in terms of our human perception. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. But the universe knows. The universe knows what you need. Your guides and angels know what you need. Their view of you and the view of your life comes with a different perception. Their perception of you is very different than your perception of you. And it is often that their perception of you is far greater than your perception of yourself. So the universe, your guides and angels, whatever name you want to put on it, knows what you are capable of. But you will never be able to reach that potential when you are going against yourself. When you are out of alignment with you. You cannot experience greater you if you are not in alignment with you. It cannot happen. So another reason why we are being forced to slow down is to call our parts home, or another words for that is integration, which simply means becoming aware of what has been suppressed or pushed away in order to be loved, accepted, liked, approved. Again, all those things that we need to thrive, not just to survive, but we need them often to survive. What aspects of you have you pushed away, ignored, disrespected? And why? There's always a reason. And I would invite you to, when you look at these things within yourself, I would invite you to please do so without judgment. Because at the end of the day, you always have your reason, or your ego has its reasons. As we are becoming more spiritually matured, we are aligning ourselves more with our soul and less only with our ego self. It does not mean we don't have an ego. Again, I am not one of those people who says get rid of the ego. Everything is here for a reason. There's nothing wrong with having an ego. Ego allows you to experience life through your specific perceptions, which are ego-driven or ego-based. The problem, if you will, is when we live our life through our wounded ego that has not been healed, ego that is still holding on to the past, ego that is limiting itself because of hurt and pain that is no longer here, but we're holding on to it as if it was here now. So if our ego lives with the perception that if it allows itself to be vulnerable, it's going to get hurt, then that means you are going to likely close yourself off. You're going to close down your heart, or at least limit yourself in terms of what you will allow to come into your life. You might be asking for amazing things from the universe. Universe, give me the perfect partner. Universe, give me lots of money. Universe, give me great health. Universe, give me abundance. Whatever it is that we are wanting to experience, if our wounded ego is not aligned with that vibration, it's going to be very difficult to bring those experiences into our physical life, because we will be at odds with what we are asking for. So if you are feeling stuck right now, if you feel like there is non-movement, if you feel like you're in a holding pattern, do yourself a favor. Start asking yourself these questions. What aspects of me have I put aside? What aspects of me do I deem unimportant, yet I know they're important, but for whatever reason I had to push them aside? What obligations have I taken on, and the consequences of that was me saying no to myself? And don't be afraid of the answers. At the end of the day, you don't have to do anything about it, but the beautiful thing is, the moment you start to realize that, the moment you start to see how you limit yourself, you can change it. You can change it. Again, the tools that I have developed, link down below, will help you discover some of these things about yourself. The inner child meditation goes into some of the things that your inner child is holding on to in terms of limitations, so that you can see for yourself, so that you can begin the healing process and begin the integration process of bringing yourself back to you, bringing yourself back home to yourself. Slow and steady. I am going to read this to you again because I feel that it is important for me to read it. The words are very specific. And again, they just fall right into with the message here. Remember the old cliche, slow and steady wins the race? This is a time for easy movement, unhurried steps, and steady heart. Trust that taking life at a more leisurely pace will give you greater access to your dreams. Slowing down allows more contact with the juicier elements of your life. Savor them. I don't think there is a need for explanation, but I will expand on it. Healing takes time. Healing cannot be hurried or forced. Everyone has their own timeline. Everyone has their own process. Everyone has their own way of dealing with hurt and pain. So the best thing that you can do for yourself is give yourself some time. And right now, we are being encouraged to take the time of non-action, of feeling stuck, and do exactly that. Look at the aspect of ourselves that need to be healed. Now, when I say the word need, you don't need to do a damn thing if you don't want to. Nobody's going to force you. It's nobody's business. But chances are, you probably want to live a life from more of a healed state rather than a wounded state. And that's because living a life from a wounded state is filled with fear. It's filled with discomfort. It's filled with resistance. And you probably have experienced your share of that, probably more than enough already. So again, do yourself a favor. take this time that the universe is giving you, a time of non-action per se, perhaps, and allow yourself to look to these aspects of you that you have been suppressing, the aspects of you that you have been denying, the aspects of you that you are deeming unimportant. If it's an aspect of you and you are important, then your aspects of you are important. There's various level of importance, perhaps, yes, but all of you is important, and all of you needs attention. Last but not least, this is a beautiful ending to this message, and I'm going to read it because, again, the words are absolutely perfect. Because basically what this is saying, that when we take time to do what we talked about, when we take time to reevaluate, to reflect, to do some inner exploration, something amazing begins to happen. So I'm looking at the numbers from a numerology perspective. 2 is about choices, 9 is about letting go. What will you choose to let go of at this time in order to help you be more of who you truly are? What belief systems, what type of limited conditioning will you let go of to help you be more of who you are? And remember, you are an unlimited being having a limited experience. But even within the limited experience of being a human being, you still have vast room for expansion. And of course, 9 is letting go. What will you let go of? What will you transform? What will you ease into that is new, that allows you to let go of the past? What new habits will you adopt? What new ways will you adopt so that you can live a happier, healthier, more fulfilled life? And here's the thing. No one can do it for you. I can't adopt your habits for you. I can't let go for you. I can't heal you. I can help you through the steps. I can guide you. I can do energy healing on you. But at the end of the day, that decision has to come from you. And that decision has to be followed by new concepts, new ideas, new way of implementing new things into your life. Otherwise, nothing is going to change. Things will remain the same. Nothing will be different. No one can do that for you. Only you. So here's what I'm going to read. Something beautiful is being born into your life. When you look at your life, can you see how you have grown and evolved over time? Perhaps you've shed skins and identities and created new ones, or at the very least, matured in your ideas about yourself and the world you inhabit. You know things take time, and Spirit's timetable is rarely in sync with your own. This message indicates that a long-held dream is beginning to show signs of life. You must try not to coax it along or shape it according to your desires. Spirit knows the best form for the manifestation of this dream, and your life can become even better than you could possibly imagine. Now is the time for reverence and awe. Allow the contours of your path to be carved by the hands of the divine. All you have to do is show up. So that's what I have for you. I hope this was helpful. I do believe you will find this helpful. It covers a lot of what's going on for many, many people, myself included. And again, download the transformational tools, which are in line with exactly what we've been talking about, and start your own process of inner transformation. And here's what I want to say. The tools aren't designed for you to be better, because there's nothing wrong with you now. The tools are designed for you to embody more of your true potential. That's the difference. I look forward to seeing your comments, how these themes fit in your life, how you are experiencing them, how they are showing up in your life, and what is making sense to you. And I would love for you to share your stories if that is how you feel inclined. Thank you so much for your time. I look forward to seeing your comments, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.